We're going to do an example where we're going to use the cosine law to solve for an unknown side length. Now, first off, we want to be aware of why we cannot use the sine law here. If we look at this particular triangle, the reason we cannot use the sine law is that there is no side length angle pairing. Okay, so for example, I don't have a complete ratio between angle B and side B, or angle A and side A, or angle C or side C. So because I don't have that information, I cannot possibly use the sine law. So I have to therefore use cosine. And so here it tells us that we have to solve for an unknown side. In fact, it tells us right here in the equation that we need to solve for an unknown side. And we need to solve it to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. So tenth of a centimeter means 1 decimal place. Okay? So let's start off by labeling this triangle as best we can. So it's given us all 3 angles. We have angle A, B, and C. It's given us side B, okay, and that's what we're looking for. We don't know the value of side B, but let's label side A and side C as well. So across from A, we have 20, so side A is equal to 20 centimeters, and side C is across from angle C, and that is equal to 16 centimeters. Now, we have to figure out why is it that we can use cosine law on this at all? And the reason is we actually have the scissor pattern. We have 2 side lengths and a contained angle. Okay, and so because we have the 2 side lengths and a contained angle, we can use the scissor pattern. And so I'm able to figure that out, rather I'm able to use the scissor pattern and cosine law to figure out side B. Okay, so because we're trying to figure out side B, we need to use the appropriate equation. Okay, so we're looking for side B, so that's going to be B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2 times A times C times cos B. Okay, and so this is the formula that we're going to be using. And frankly, when people are doing their multiplication, or where people get into trouble, is on that latter section of the equation. That latter section of the equation is all multiplied. Okay, so in this, all of those terms are multiplied. Okay, it's not addition, it's not subtraction, and so forth. You have to multiply the whole thing. Okay, and so as we substitute, we need to be aware that we're multiplying the back end of that. Okay, so we don't know what B is, but that's what we're trying to figure out. So let's substitute in the known values. We've got B squared is equal to A squared, and A is 20, so 20 squared. We know C is 16, so 16 squared, okay, because we're just substituting in the A value. Okay, the A value is 20, the C value is 16, and so forth. Then we have 2 minus 2 times A, so A is 20, times C, which is 16, times the cos of angle B, and angle B is 52 degrees. Okay? So now we're going to go through and we're going to simplify this as much as we possibly can. So I've got B squared is equal to 20 squared. Well, 20 squared is 400. Plus 16 squared. So 16 squared is 256. Now, again, this minus 2 times 20 times 16 times cos 52 degrees, those 4 numbers are all being multiplied. So I'm going to do 2 times 20 times 16 times the cos of 52 degrees, and that's going to equal approximately 394. Okay? So, please bear in mind that the far right-hand side of this equation, all those terms are multiplied, and we need to multiply them, otherwise you're going to get into trouble. Okay, so let's add together what we can. So we've got b squared is equal to 400 plus 256, okay, which equals 656, and then we're going to subtract the 394. So that's going to give us b squared is equal to 262. Now we need to get b all by itself, and obviously b is not all on its own. We've got b squared. So just like we did with Pythagorean theorem, the opposite operation of squaring something is to take the square root. So we're actually going to take the square root of both the right and the left-hand side here. Okay, and so the square root of 262 is approximately 16.2. Okay, so to the nearest centimeter, side B is equal to 16.2 centimeters. Okay. So again, we can use the cosine law to solve for unknown side lengths, and we can use the cosine law formula to do that. It's really important that we remember that the right-hand side of that cosine law formula, that minus 2 AC cos B, that's all multiplied. That means minus 2 times A times C times whatever cos B happens to equal. Okay, so please make sure that you are aware of that when you're making your calculation.